Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VIII. Last time we made a plan to save the world from Ultimacia. Then we got some pretty powerful items so that we could finally finish up and get all of our ultimate weapons. And we found this guy. Just so you know where we are, this time we're going to do a bunch of side quests, so don't expect any story progress this time. It's pretty much standard for a JRPG. You figure out what you're supposed to do. It's like, we have an end goal, now go do side quests so we can go and kill the final boss later. Completely overpowered, like we weren't already. But yeah, this here is called the Heath Peninsula. This is in Trabia. This is the fourth location that we can run into it, and it is a little island here. As you can kind of see here, it's a little tiny island right about there on the world map. It's not necessarily an easy one to find, but you'll be able to see that the continent there is right next to it. And if you look over here, there's these three islands. 1, 2, and 3. And these are all right in and around this area. And for reference, just in case you weren't here when I went and got the other areas that we can run into the little UFO at, we're just going to go quickly and go double check all of those. We're looking for a few different areas. We have Mandy Beach, which is east of Timber, which we're going to head to first, which I believe is this beach here. So there's... Look at you dropping frames there. So it's the beach right here. You can run into them. Remember, you can encounter these guys with Encounter None on, so you don't have to worry too much about trying to run into a bunch of other enemies. You can find another encounter over here near the city of Windhill, town of Windhill, village, whatever you want to call it. And the final area that we already did was down here in the desert, the Kashbal Desert? Kashbal? How do you pronounce that? It was down here. We ran into that in even a different episode from those other two, just because it so happened to work out that way. So it's just around here, and that's the fourth one. So there are 4 different ones you can encounter. Once you've encountered all 4 of them, then we can head over here. And we're basically going back to where I started the episode off, so just there's our island that we were at, the Heath Peninsula. And whereabouts are we? Going to spin around, go the wrong way here, because I'm probably... There it is. So I want to go up here. And if I remember correctly, this should be... Yes, the forest. I think this specifically needs to be done on the top. Okay, I landed the ship at a different spot there because it wasn't seeming to work. It might have to be a specific part of the island. I'm not sure. This time, you can still run into it with Encounter None on. All he has is Demi. He is a UFO. So, let's kill it. Kill it with some AP ammo. Hey, max damage. That's it. I guess Team Rocket's blasting off again. Well, that was definitely something. Okay, that was interesting to say the least. For defeating him, we get an Aegis Amulet, which gives us the Evade Junction ability, which I will be making use of later on. So yeah, this is where I am. That's the specific spot, just so you can kind of see what this general area looks like. I think I'm on the same stretch of land, but I'm right near the Chocobo Forest there. Notice how I keep changing the... Well, I was doing it for a moment there, but every time I would change camera angle, that would drop further, like dipping down, so all you're looking at is the ground. I don't know why it does that, but it does. Next, we're going to head to Balam. It's an odd place. I'm not sure how anyone figured this out back in the day, other than just like running around with Encounter None on and just getting lucky and finding things. But we're going to drop off here. Now, before we go any further, there is a couple of things I would like to take a quick look at. said that we got all the items. If you remember the end of the last episode, we were getting energy crystals. So we got your ultimate weapon in the last one. We did not get this one yet, so here is Save the Queen. Sharp spikes, Malboro tentacles, I've already shown how to get those. Pretty straightforward, the energy crystals we got last time. And there's that. Renoa got her shooting star already. Selfie, we all have our ultimate weapons at long last. There we go. Let's see, one other thing is on my junctions, I have made a little bit of change. I've moved Ultima, for anyone who has it maxed out. I moved it from Magic up to Strength because there's very few spells that I still need to draw. In fact, there's only 2 spells that I still need to max out for everybody. And, well, we're going to get access to those soon, but not quite yet. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I want to check items. We only have 1 elixir so far. Interesting. Well, if we go into ability and we go to card mod, let's see. Somebody around here has it, if I remember. Yeah, Angelo's card. So we can refine Angelo's cards. We have 100 elixirs now. Probably a good idea to do that first. Then you need to walk around the crater of Balam Garden. Again, this can be done with Encounter None off. Or Encounter None on, sorry. This guy has, well, he's mid-level, but he's got elixirs. Now, you can fight him if you want, and if you do fight him, you will get an accelerator as a draw. And I'm running away. I originally set it up so that I had item, and then I reloaded because I had a bad intro, and then I did not put item back on. So let's put item back on. Knew there was a reason I was going back into my junctions there. Give item to a couple of people there. Actually, you know what? We'll give it to Squall too, because I don't really need recover. It's just something different so that I don't have item on, because if that was the case, then all I would have on all game long would be, you know, draw, magic, and item. Okay, well, we're back. I've realized that if you run away from the enemy we were just encountered with, well, you're shit out of luck. I actually didn't realize this because usually I have item on somebody, and I just didn't have it on anybody. So if that's the case, you have to reload, which is what I did. So I just had to do the little bit that we had done so far this episode again, which isn't a big deal. This is Poo Poo. Poo Poo asks for elixirs. He's basically a magic pot. Where are my elixirs? There you go. If you decide to defeat him by attacking him, by the way, he only has 10 HP, so I'm not going to give you any stats on him. I don't think you can hit him with any status effects. But anyway, he has 10 HP. He'd lie in one hit if you kill him. You get an accelerator for killing him. An accelerator gives you auto haste. Auto haste is nice, but that's not unique, and there are other ways of getting that. Even more of them later in the game if we want to. And I will be showing that off so I can get auto haste for all 6 of my characters. However, if you give him the elixirs that he asks for, which I believe is usually 5, then you get something actually unique. It's the only way of getting this in the entire game, and there is no way of getting this over again. This is the one unique thing in regards to what we get that you can't get some other way. The Poo Poo's card. This is the level 5 card that we've been holding out for all game long. It's right here. This cannot be regained if lost. It disappears into the ether. You can never get this again. It can be refined through card mod into a Hungry Cook Pot. A Hungry Cook Pot is not particularly useful. It just isn't. There's no real need to do anything with the Hungry Cook Pot. You can turn it into a few different things, and like it goes down the line. I think what it does by default is it teaches the ability to devour to a GF, which we're going to get that ability through one of the few remaining GFs that we can still pick up anyway, so that's not really anything to worry about. But yeah, it's not really worth going down the line. Like, you can change it into some really stupid things like G Love Love or Love Love G or whatever those items are, which we already can max out if we really care. Yeah, see, turn it into one of those. But why would you do that? You can turn it into a Rosetta Stone. That's the one use I would see for it. But because we're able to manipulate RNG earlier in the game, it really doesn't come into play anymore. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go take a look at a couple. That's the wrong button. I wanted to press the square button. I pressed the X button. Let's go take a look at a couple of unique islands. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to show off some of the most powerful enemies in the game. Oh yeah, by the way, the Galbati Garden, yeah, it's no longer there, obviously. But as far as I know, it's nowhere. I don't think it ever shows up again after the end of Disc 2. So there's that. Alright, so there's this long island here. Let's take a landing on this one. It's the island closest to hell. And if you run around the island closest to hell and spam the button, you will find a whole whack ton of drop points. I specifically use the ones on the edge of the island since it seems to be easier, and just basically use Encounter None, go around here, and spam the button looking for all of these drop points. There are, see, I actually had a page pulled up so that I knew. That is other one. So yeah, this one has, I think it's 31 drop points. The only ones that really matter to us, we don't need the triples, we don't need meteors, but we do want aura spells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run around the island and just collect all of the ones that I find. We already have holies. There's another meteor. I will put up on screen, there is a map that contains the locations of all of these drop points. They won't always be active, and they take quite a while to refill. So just kind of be aware that that's the case. But other than that, yeah, just run around here, grab a few spells while we're in the neighborhood, and then we'll show off what else is on this island. You probably want to do this with Encounter None. Okay, we're back. I've made some changes to my setup and I've healed everybody up. By the way, since we got Holy, it is one of the best spells to put on your HP, so I've done that as well. I just didn't mention it when we were here before. If we have 4 different elemental things to protect, you can do, switch this up for Flare, because Flare protects you against 3 different elemental spells, which is very, very nice. So yeah, Full Life, Life, Shell, Flare. Those are the 4 if you get all 4 elemental defense abilities. And let's see here, we have Confuse and Pain. She has Death on her status attack, which may come into play coming up here. Squall here has Confuse and Pain. If he had status attack, he would put Death on it. He does not, so nothing we can do there. He's got Flare on his Strength. I also have everybody with as many bonus abilities as possible. So Strength and Spirit are the only ones that he has. Renoa has Magic and HP. Irvine, I even took Auto Haste on to give him all the different elemental, or all of the different bonus abilities, because that's pretty much what the point of Cactuar is. Jumbo Cactuar, you get this, you get however your character is super low level, and then you level them up with all of these bonuses, and their stats skyrocket. It is ridiculous. As far as you go, everything else is the same up front. We've got double over there on hit. Let's see. If you happen to have 4 different status defenses, you want Death, Pain, Confuse, and Berserk. Those are the ones that are going to hamper you the most. There's only one other one that comes into play if, say, you want Death on your status attack, and I have Sleep on right now, because Drain's not really going to help us. And that would be the spell Break, which inflicts petrification. I don't even have it drawn because its use case is basically against one enemy, and we've already gotten past that enemy without having to worry about it, and that's the Malbro. It inflicts a gradual petrify effect, and it will petrify you, I think, after a count of 20. It doesn't really come into play, but Once you've done this and saved, let's see what we can find around here. The island closest to Hell has enemies that are always level 100, even if we're not. As you can see, I have my lower level characters, Renault and Irvine, where I think they're level 18 or 19, and these are definitely the highest level spells we can get. So the way you want to deal with them is we want to use instant death, because most of the enemies around here are susceptible against it, or we want to use limit breaks. The other option is if you have Quistis in the party, she has the ability Degenerator with her limit, and she can do a whole lot of death with that ability because it's an instant death ability. And all of the enemies around here are susceptible to it. No, it did not want to attack you. And she's dead. Let's try that again. I hate the way that I want to press over to the right to go to the next enemy that is to the right of the enemy that I'm targeting, and it makes me target my characters. It's one of the reasons why I turn on the, hey, we finally get to show it off! Lionheart, his final limit break. But yeah, I hate the way it's set up. That's why I had it set up before. But Lionheart, as you can see, is Omni Slash, but I think it's actually better. I think it gets one more hit than Omni Slash. I could be wrong on that. That's something I vaguely remember from before. But yeah, it does crap tons of damage, and even at low strength, chances are it's going to hit for 9,999 damage. It's just ridiculous that way. What do we get here? We got a basic one. I don't really care. So that'll wake it up. Ooh. Put it back to sleep here. Nap, nap. But yeah, this is basically the way you take care of the enemies around here. Sleep is effective against some of them. Limit breaks do a whole lot of good. Instant death attacks do a whole lot of good. And once you kill them, you will notice something. 3,000 experience. This is why we have as many stat bonus things on as possible, because you gain crap tons of levels when you go and fight these guys. Now, we've already seen Grendels. This is how you get Dragon Fins late game if you so happen to be doing that. Everything leveled up to no end. Okay, let's go switch some of these things up. That's not all you can fight around here, though. You can also fight blue dragons. Blue dragons, I don't even know what that is, to be honest. It is Break, there you go. So there's Break. You can try casting Death against it. Again, the enemies are susceptible. Aura is your friend. It does lots of damage, and it broke. Okay, we broke something. You get no experience for that. No AP either. You would get their drops if they happen to have any of those. Let's see if we can show off some of the other enemies that you can find around here. They're all pretty deadly. Ah, there we go. We found somebody new. A T-Rex. Well, we already know how to deal with these guys since we've been able to fight them for quite some time. They are also susceptible to instant death. Again, Degenerator would work on them too. Limit breaks are your best friend as well. That's what I'm going to go for. Just figured I'd show them off, kind of how to deal with them. You can deal similar things with the Blue Dragon from before. Many of these enemies have elemental resistances and or absorb different elements, so I wouldn't put anything on your elemental attacks in these fights. I wouldn't waste time casting spells, using GFs, or anything like that. Pretty much all of it is make use of your status effects, because yeah, ass tons of damage. These guys are ridiculous. So let's throw up a Mega Potion so I don't die. And let's throw up another Mega Potion so I don't die. But yeah, the enemies around here are pretty powerful. Being high level really does that to an enemy, I guess. But yeah, they're all locked at level 100, which makes them really, really powerful. But yeah, 2,500 experience. As you can see, if you ever want to level grind, this is where you're going to want to come to do it. Let's see if we can find one, or I think there's 2 other enemies that I could show off around here. Oh, there's this guy too. I wasn't going to include this one because we've already seen a Malbro, just not at these levels. Again, it's a max level Malbro. You have to deal with it exactly the way you would expect to deal with it. And somehow you've bypassed my Berserk. I had 99% Berserk immunity because I think I lost some Berserks. So, oh yeah. Yeah, that's on the one character that I think is protected against it. Confusion is the more important of the two. Having Squall with auto haste so that he can annihilate this guy quickly, that will help too. Eventually he will get petrified if he doesn't kill this guy first. But yeah, that's pretty much how you deal with the fight, is preparation. Once you get your preparation, you should be kind of good to go. We still have our instant death on her status attack, so she could possibly kill this guy outright. Would like to show that off at some point, but doesn't seem to want to work. Timer's not going. That's great. There we go. Once Irvine decides to wake up, he can join in on the fun. If Squall dies, it's not a huge deal because we still have other characters that can hopefully finish this guy off before the end. Auto haste is nice because it prevents slow and stop from hitting you as well. Remember, these guys are super high levels and they're going to have a lot of HP. So it will take a little while to bring them down, but as long as we have high attack power, we should be good. Almost 4,000 for Renoa, who finished off the guy. Holy crap. Well, there's your Malbro tentacles if you need those. Oh, sweet Jesus is a level 100 Ruby Dragon. Mummy? Yeah, level 100 Ruby Dragons are not fun. Remember, these guys have a pretty high resistance to, what is it that I'm trying to say here? To sleep. So we may not get sleep to work on this guy. But use your limits and hope he doesn't use breath, which is pretty much the only way you're going to survive this if you don't just kill one of your characters right out. Or Lionheart could help and save the day. That works too. Lionheart is basically what we're doing Rensukuken hoping for, because when that happens, it's nearly an instant win. And we haven't used, Fatality Zero or Meltdown on this guy, so we don't quite get up there because he's got really high defense. But yeah, lots of damage. That's the way you want to take care of these guys if you are trying to level grind against them. Much easier dealing with them before when they're not this high level, and you can level up them and level down if you want to. So there's 3,000 more experience. You can get energy crystals from them, but only reliably at higher levels, if I remember correctly, if it's even reliable at all. And I'm going to undo all of this when we're done, so I'm not too worried about gaining ridiculous amounts of levels, because we've gained, like, 14 levels in the span of this episode. And last but not least, the Hex Dragon. This guy absorbs a number of different elements, and you could have found him before, but again, he is something dangerous that you don't really want to get stuck with. He has his own breath attack. I'm not as worried about this one as I am against some of the other ones, but yeah, he's not a Ruby Dragon. He is pretty powerful, but he's definitely not a Ruby Dragon. Video game? You gonna give Squall his limit or not? Wow, that was, no instant death today. Go to sleep. I don't know if all the enemies can be hit with sleep around here. I would guess most of them can. go. And we're already out of aura. Because it didn't want to work for me there for a little bit for some reason. But yeah, just keep casting auras. We will have a way of getting more aura spells a little bit later on, so don't worry about running low on them. But yeah, this is the final enemy that you can encounter on this island. And again, all these enemies are level 100 and they're all ridiculously powerful. But it's not the only island with some cool draw points and some uber powerful enemies. And this one falls down too. So yeah, if you want to level grind, do remember that enemies other than the enemies on this island and the next island we're about to go to, they scale with you. So the higher your level, the higher level your enemies are, and the more difficult in general the game actually is. I didn't want to run into another battle, I just wanted to get on the airship. That's one thing with these islands, is the encounter rate is really high, and so if you're in bad shape, put encounter none on and just be safe. No, I don't want meteor. I want to get on the airship. Yay, we're on the airship. We're not dead yet. So yeah, like I said, there is one more island. This will be the island closest to heaven. It's not that one. It is... Is it down here? I don't remember off the top of my head. I think... It's not that one, is it? I'm pretty sure it's not this one. I'm just going to double check. It's a lot more difficult to find over here because it's amongst a bunch of other islands. It's not kind of by itself. Alright. It's not that one. That one's too small. Means this is it. I think this is it. Yes, there we go. The island closest to heaven. This one also has a lot of nice draw points on it, which I didn't happen to find there. But it also has, let's see, 3 new enemies that we could fight. This is one of them. This is the Ochu. We encountered this one before when we wanted to grab pain spells. So if you want to grab more pain spells, you can do that here. So again, we're going to use Aura. We're going to put it on Squall. We're going to try and put this guy to sleep. And hopefully we can get our limit going. Because that's the biggest source of our damage right now. Squall is the DPS. Unfortunately, his chances of using Lionheart are only 25%, and that's if he decides to use a finisher at all. All of that is, of course, determined by the invisible... what the hell did we call this again? The invisible crisis level. Ochu doesn't give you the most amount of experience or AP, but he's here. And I learned something I didn't care to learn. So there's an aura spell. I'm not going to bother drawing them here, but they're all over the place as well. There are 35 on this island. And here's the second enemy that you can encounter. You can also find this guy in the Cashball Desert, and you can encounter him there as well and fight him earlier in the game. He's just really rare to find. Yeah, so those are the spells he has. If you're interested in that, he should be susceptible to instant death. If not, we can kick his ass with Aura setup. Oops, there we go. He'll use Aqua Breath. I'm not worried about Aqua Breath. Any enemy that uses an elemental-based attack, you're not worried about. You're worried about non-elemental attacks and non-elemental and physical-based attacks. Those are the only ones that can hurt you because we have so much protection against elemental damage itself. But yeah, I figured I'd show off all the different enemies you can encounter on these islands. They're all level 100. They're all really powerful. They all give boatloads of experience. If you're going to level grind, I suggest going to the island closest to Hell, as it has more encounters. One of the encounters you can find here on the island closest to Heaven is the Malbro, and you much prefer to go to an area where you don't have to deal with the Malbro, because Malbro's a pain and it takes longer to kill usually. But make sure if you are going to level grind here that you're saving often, because it's really easy to die, and I'm surprised I haven't yet, to be quite honest. But yeah, we got water crystals from you, a bunch more AP that we aren't going to save. I'm going to reload to before I did all this just because look at all those levels. I've gained far too many levels. And last but not least, Tri-Faces. You can run into these guys here. You want lots of elemental or status protection against these guys. I think they can inflict some stuff that I'm not protected against. So, going to Aura Squall. We're going to try and put you to sleep, and we're going to hopefully kill you before you get a move in. Hey, susceptible to sleep, my best friend. Yeah, if you need to get curse spikes, you can farm them against this guy here, though there is a better place to do that, and we'll actually be going to said better place relatively shortly. Huh, he fell down relatively quickly. Like I said, the other enemy you can counter on this island is the Malbro. As you can see, all of them, save for the Malbro, give significantly less experience, so you're best off doing your grinding. He usually gives curse spikes. Weird. Oh well. But yeah, like the enemies here give a little bit less experience, so I would go to the island closest to Hell if you want to do any of your grinding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unload this, go back to my old file where my characters are half the level that they were, and yeah, I'm going to collect all of the draw points here on this island, just so I have some more Aura spells, some more Ultima spells for Squall, and then we will we'll move into the next episode, where we're going to do probably my least favorite side quest in this entire game. It's tedious, doesn't get you very much, and it takes absolutely forever. That's all for this one, and I'll see you guys at Obel Lake.